All right, let's jump right into this explainer because I know a lot of you in the Charlotte area are dealing with a massive frustration right now. We're going to look closely at why those heavy spring rains, which, you totally think would be a blessing, might actually be destroying your lawn from the roots up. If you've been staring out your window lately, just scratching your head wondering what went wrong out there, well, you are in the exact right place. Late spring in North Carolina brings this incredibly challenging mix of high humidity, cloudy skies, and just seemingly endless downpours. Because of all this, turf problems can seem to explode literally overnight. You might look out one morning and see that your once vibrant grass is suddenly looking yellow, patchy, thin, or just completely flat. It's beyond frustrating, and it leaves so many of us feeling completely helpless. Well, it's a completely natural assumption, right? I mean, we're taught from day one that plants need sunshine and water to thrive. So shouldn't abundant rainfall automatically equal a healthier, more robust lawn? Actually, the reality is quite a bit more complicated. It turns out that way too much moisture can actually stress your grass out just as severely as a brutal summer drought. It's the ultimate wet lawn paradox. You naturally expect those endless spring showers to fuel this lush, thriving yard, but the harsh reality is often a yellow, thin, flat, and patchy mess that is barely hanging on. Flooding your grass with the very thing it needs to live is, in this deeply ironic twist, actually suffocating it. But how exactly does this happen? Section 1. The hidden villains, fungal threats, and saturated soil. So warm temperatures combined with constant moisture, that creates the absolute perfect incubator for fungal diseases to just spread like wildfire across your yard. If you walk outside right now and notice greasy-looking blades, weird circular patches, or grass that somehow looks wilted even though it's soaking wet, yeah, you're very likely looking at a severe fungal infection. And ignoring these early symptoms, that can turn a super minor, treatable issue into some seriously expensive lawn damage. Here's what's really interesting, though, how this deluge affects different types of lawns. If you have tall fescue, you're already in a tough spot because that grass inherently struggles with the heat and humidity of the transition zone. Add standing moisture and cloudy weather, and boom, the fungal pressure shoots right through the roof. On the other hand, Bermuda grass generally recovers a bit faster, but when drainage is poor, even hardy Bermuda is incredibly prone to diseases like dollar spot and spring dead spot. So really, no turf is entirely safe when the soil stays drenched. Okay, let's break down exactly why this happens, because it's essentially a destructive chain reaction. When the soil stays saturated, the oxygen levels around the root system drastically drop. At the same time, all that repeated rain acts like a massive flush, washing vital nitrogen and nutrients right out of the soil before the lawn can even use them. Because the roots are starved of oxygen, they weaken and actually stop absorbing what little is left. Your grass becomes severely stressed and turns yellow. It isn't dying from a lack of water, it's literally drowning while simultaneously experiencing a severe nutrient deficiency. Section 2. Under the surface, the soil compaction problem. This quote hits the nail on the head. When you have clay soils, they naturally hold onto water much longer than sandy soils do. So, if puddles are lingering in your yard long after the storm clouds have passed, you aren't just dealing with a temporary rain problem. You are dealing with a major structural compaction problem. Fun fact here, densely compacted clay can actually become as hard as concrete when it's dry, and almost completely waterproof when it's fully saturated. The crucial takeaway is that throughout the year, heavy foot traffic and the weight of mowing equipment pack that clay soil down incredibly tight. It basically becomes a brick. When the ground is this compacted, water just cannot drain effectively. The roots of your grass struggle to push through that dense barrier, leading to super shallow root systems. All that excess water has nowhere to go, so surface runoff increases. The heavy spring rains don't necessarily create this compaction, they just ruthlessly expose the problem that was already hiding right there under your feet. Section 3. Adding insult to injury. Mistakes when mowing wet. Look, I get it. You want to get out there and tidy up your yard, but rushing out to mow while the lawn is still wet is one of the absolute biggest mistakes you can make. Saturated soil is incredibly vulnerable. Just the sheer weight of your mower's tires is going to compact that wet soil even deeper. Plus, wet grass blades tend to tear rather than cut cleanly, no matter how sharp your mower blades are. Those torn, jagged edges, they are practically an open invitation for the fungal diseases we talked about earlier to just walk right in and spread. Add in the fact that wet clippings clump together and literally smother the turf below, and you've got an absolute recipe for disaster. The smart move here is to practice some patience, Wait until the lawn dries out as much as possible. Try to avoid mowing during peak humidity. And always remember this golden rule. Never remove more than 1/3 of the grass height in a single mow. If you cut it too short during wet, stressful weather, you are just adding massive shock to turf that is already struggling to breathe.
Section 4, the resolution, liquid aeration, and early action. Thankfully, this whole situation is completely solvable. The answer lies in improving the soil itself. Liquid aeration is an absolute game changer, especially for that dense Charlotte clay. Unlike traditional core aeration, the kind that pulls physical dirt plugs out of the ground, liquid aeration acts as a direct, liquid intervention. It uses specialized soil conditioning products to break apart that stubborn, compacted soil at a molecular level. It opens up the ground so water can finally penetrate deeply, and those roots can get the oxygen they so desperately need to thrive. By radically improving the soil structure below ground, you are totally transforming the health of your turf above ground. Liquid aeration significantly reduces that frustrating surface runoff and pooling. But more importantly, it encourages deeper, much stronger root growth. This helps your lawn bounce back significantly faster after those heavy spring storms. And honestly, healthy, deeply rooted turf is exactly what you need to fortify your grass against the unpredictable and totally scorching North Carolina summer heat. The absolute most important takeaway today is that your lawn is not going to magically fix itself just because the sun eventually comes out. If you see those yellow patches in standing water right now, early action is absolutely essential. By taking proactive steps to reduce compaction and treat the early signs of fungus today, you're going to prevent widespread outbreaks and save yourself a massive headache, and honestly, a lot of expensive recovery treatments down the line. So I'll leave you with this. Is your lawn really ready for the heat that's just around the corner? Take a close look at your yard today. Look for that pooling water. Check for those torn blades, because fixing your soil compaction right now is really just step one. Do you know exactly what micronutrients your specific grass will need once that summer heat finally breaks? Start preparing your grass now so it doesn't just survive the summer, but totally thrives in it.